Hello everyone, this is the LEGO Star Wars Jango Fett Starship Fire Spray 31 Class Slave 1 set. It comes with 707 pieces with 3 minifigures. I paid $70 US for this. It's 70 euros, 60 pounds UK or $90 Canadian. And there are 2 display modes for this. So you can have it in its landed form like this, or you can combine it with this thing here. It's a little runabout utility hauler thing that has a cargo box on the back. You can open that up, got a couple of extra shots in there. You can have a person standing back here, standing here, standing here. One can stand or sit in the cockpit, and all of this will rotate up. And then you take your ship, just rotate it up, stick it in the little 2-stud wide slot down there. You have a few different angles, but this is the most secure. The more leaning down it is, the better, but you can make it go just a little bit more vertical than that. It's a little bit less less secure in how it's sitting there, but you've got this now flight mode kind of display for it. You do see a little bit of the stand in the background, but that's not a big deal. You know, it's nice to have that little clever thing where this is useful on its own, but it also gives you different display value. These winglets here are kind of operated by gravity the way the original Kenner toy was. That's always nice to see. In spite of the fact that this is the little one, looks pretty good around the underside or backside as well. When I say little one compared to the big one, I mean, it's not really a fair comparison, is it? But there you go. Folks wanted to see this for sure. This is the size of the 2021 Boba version. Much smaller, though, than the 20th anniversary version. The funny thing is, though, this does just about everything that the UCS version does, and it could even be argued that this does a little bit more. And I'll show you the details of that. But, you know, just generally looking at this from all around, for something that is this size, I mean, it's a reasonable size. I wish that a playscale version of this was a little bit larger than this. I really thought that the 20th anniversary Boba one was kind of the perfect size, maybe even slightly oversized, something in between those two. Maybe it would feel just right to me. But thankfully, this does have good utility to it. It is able to fit both the father and the son in the cockpit. I'll show you that in just a minute. Again, you've got the little winglets that do operate by gravity, which is, I mean, it's not 100. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's not 100%. Sometimes it gets a little bit stuck, but that's pretty nice. You have the nice subtle angle for all of this here. The spine when it's in this form, or the bridge of the nose when it's in its flight form. The color blocking is pretty good. It does use some stickers, but not too many. This is the most important sticker right here. And the dark green is a little bit too dark. The white is a little bit too white, kind of normal stuff there. Got these stickers on the front as well, adding a little bit of detail, and these ones on the sides that add very, very little. You can easily leave those off. I like the use of the modern dark black canopy. I like how all this goes together. Interestingly, with the build process, it started out shaky. It started out kind of questionable to me because all of the rear flat section here, basically from the C-3PO eyes here down to the nose to the mouth, or is it like a Cyberman, or is it Professor Huyang? I think it's more Professor Huyang. Anyway, all that area that you're looking at on screen right now, it isn't really held together well for a fair bit of time until you start adding more things onto it. It just felt odd to me that they left things feeling so fragile during the build. Once it's done, it's fine. This back here feels maybe just a little bit loose, but it's not like it's going to come off. It's actually attached with Technic stuff. But otherwise, once that early step was passed, it started to feel pretty good to me. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the look of the stud shooters down here, or tile shooters. At the base, they just dominate a little bit too much with the dark gray color, which I like that dark gray color. I like the dark pearl gray, which is a gunmetal gray. But if I were to modify this for my own display purposes, I would probably just reduce the look of those. The cockpit is done really, really well. It's very efficient because it's just this single piece here, right, to open it up to get access in there. But inside, you've, again, got both figures sitting there. And check this out. Well, one's standing, but check this out. Jango has his jetpack on. You don't have to take that off. How cool is that? The UCS wasn't able to pull that off. You had to go through all the gymnastics of changing, accessories out, pop the head off and everything, so that's nice. This is convenient. Unfortunately, they don't have a good spot to put the 2 guns like this, the two Jango guns. You could just kind of attach them to these little bits out here. You just kind of stick them in place, but otherwise they don't have just well-defined clips, except on that little utility barge thing. And that's what these two clips here are for, the black ones. So when it's in its landed form, you got a space for it. But it's really convenient to have the figures in there. Boba is actually not even attached. He just kind of fits, which is nice. Now, the other major feature of it is back here. So you've got the door. This opens this way. You know, really liked what they did with the UCS, with the mechanism in there to make it do all the nice things. This just opens vertically, which isn't as nice. And it only has a 2-stud wide space within there, as you can see. But you can load seismic charges, tiny little seismic charges in there. And this has a really well hidden mechanism. I'm so glad that LEGO these days is continuing the work of hiding mechanisms so that they're there, they're usable, they're playable, but they don't have a giant red arrow pointing to them. It's this right here. This is the mechanism. You push this forward and it's going to open up the door automatically and drop the seismic charges out. So just pop that in and see they just roll right on out. They just pop out, which is great. This is another thing that the UCS didn't do well because it has the two doors that you have to manually move. They're up higher. You have to manually take the piece off, move it over to the side, you know, to show one of these getting ready. And it does deploy both. If you have both of them in there, if you don't want to do both, then just, you know, load one at a time. But for the amount of space that's here, that's a pretty good use of that space. And again, the play feature is done well. And then you also have this, like this is integrated nicely, a little handle for flying it around. This is so convenient and it feels just swooshable as heck because I can hold it with one finger. It's going to angle down a little bit, you know, use another finger here. Like that is just, it's really good design. The center of gravity, the way that it's pushing against my little finger there and just gives me this kind of control. Add that thumb to it and I can do all kinds of stuff, you know? This does a lot of things very, very well. The Jango and Boba figures look outwardly very, very similar to the ones that came in the Ultimate Collector Series set, which is really nice because I don't want everybody to have to pay hundreds of dollars to get a set, to get a new pair of highly desirable figures, and especially this one here. Not that you have to do that, but because the set is so expensive, even just buying the figures on their own, on Bricklink or something, you know, this is going to be highly, highly inflated. The big difference here is that these arms for Jango do not have printing on them. Just the arms. Everything else does. Just the arms don't have printing. And I'm personally fine with that level of exclusivity, with the UCS version having the printing there, you know, or at least having something that's unique about it. The Boba, for folks who are watching this video but didn't see my UCS version or UCS review or forgot it real quick, yeah, a lot of people complain about everything about this figure. There's a lot of misinformation that went out there about the actor, what he said or didn't say, the color of the belt. This color is canonically correct. It's the most accurate color per the actual prop that was used on set. And then the hair was the biggest deal because this is rain hair. So this is wet hair. The problem with the inclusion there is that they did not include the poncho that would have gone with that one very, very brief part of the scene. But then if you think about it more realistically, honestly, the idea that his hair suddenly reverted to dry form when he got onto the slave one is pretty ridiculous itself. So yeah, it's still wet hair. Ideally, I think the previous version, the original version that they used for young Boba Fett fit him better. But you know, those are pretty readily available. So you can swap those out if the hair bugs you. It doesn't bug me personally that much. I think that overall it looks pretty good, but the lack of boots does bug me. Dual molded legs are pretty mandatory here. I mean, his boots were huge. He had hecka boots. You know, they really stood out. So not having those even in the UCS version is unfortunate. This is Lama Su over here who looks pretty good. Like this elegant mold for the head, the unique headpiece there. Print on the back of the torso is good. Print on the front of the torso is good. And the print on the front of the robes, the lower robes, have a decent design. It's a little bit simplistic, but the white is lacking opacity just a bit. It's not that bad, just a bit. But overall, I'm pretty happy with these figures. Same head, for Jango as we got with the UCS. And there's a better look at his back print. They even included the hairpiece with this cheaper set as well, which they should. You know, anytime you have a helmeted figure who is valid to show helmet off, just include the hairpiece. You know, if one is appropriate, because it costs like probably less than a cent for them to include it, especially since it's an existing mold. You know, it's already been paid for. These are the leftover pieces, including a couple extra shots that were intended for spares for the chin cannons. I did get 2 of the rangefinders there as spares. And this is what the sticker sheet looked like. Again, the price here was $70 US for 707 pieces. So members of the cult of the ultimate price to part ratio of 10 cents can rejoice and call this the absolute perfect value. Well, on the other hand, anyone who's ever seen anything made from plastic from any other company will look at this and say, well, that's not $70 worth of stuff. I don't care that it's 2025. I don't care that it's Star Wars. You know, it's not worth that. The Boba version just 4 years ago was $50, and that already felt like way too much to me at the time. It felt like an inflated price. But at least the thing was good. You know, at least the set was good. And this set is good as well. So this one is 70 euros, once again, 60 pounds UK or $90 Canadian. I think that today, in 2025, with as ridiculous as things are right now in the world, still $50 would feel a little bit much to me today. It would definitely feel like less much than it did 4 years ago for roughly the same amount of stuff. This has 100 more pieces, but it's essentially the same amount of stuff. You know, just some smaller pieces were included. Yeah, I would love this. No, I wouldn't love it at 45. I think that 45 would be a reasonable price for it, honestly. Yeah, I feel fine with that. As a Lego thing, you know, premium European toy, Lego, and licensed Star Wars Disney. Yeah, $45. Yeah, I'd be satisfied with that. 50, I could understand. 60 is definitely too much and starts to feel a little bit ridiculous to me. 70 definitely feels like way too much. But again, at least the product is good. I have very few complaints about this as a thing. Good use of the space, good detail, looks good on display. I really still appreciate the inclusion of something like this. I hope that they'll find more ways to do things like that in the future, especially as more and more of these play sets, quote unquote play sets, are just bought up by collectors who are simply going to put them on display. Having more display options adds so much to it. You know, for your core target audience, as that core target audience is itself shifting. Not that kids don't want to have things on display. It's just that it's more important now, I think, to have good, solid display options. And this small inclusion provides that. So good on the designer team for what they've done here. Too bad about the bean counters, but they need to keep that $2 billion net profit per year going. Thanks for watching. Hope that this was of value to you. Thanks especially to all the folks who are keeping me fed and with lights and being able to buy $2,000 worth of Lego sets to review for y'all on one day, August 1 alone. It's harder and harder for me, and I very much appreciate the folks who have gone so far above and beyond to click my affiliate links in the video description when they're going to make some purchases at Lego or Amazon, something like that, or who even went so far as to sign up for a channel membership or a Patreon membership. You're really helping me out so much. I would not be able to do nearly as much without y'all. And honestly, over the past 5 years of difficulties I've had with the YouTube things, I'm not sure I would have been able to make it through and to continue to be doing the stuff that I do at all now without your support. So I owe you a lot, and I hope that I'm paying you back by giving you solid dedication and hopefully good information and or entertainment with these videos. Talk to you again soon. Bye for now.